Today on the CTV News at 5, a Lethbridge man charged with manslaughter is back before the courts. Plus, how the U of L and City of Lethbridge are trying to make the community more inclusive. And it's Groundhog Day. Are we in for 6 more weeks of winter?
CTV News with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. A 19-year-old Vulcan man is facing sexual assault and attempted kidnapping charges tonight. RCMP say Monday they got a report that a young boy was approached and then chased by a man driving a pickup truck. The boy feared he was about to be abducted, so he ran home. He was unharmed. Now police have laid charges in that and another case.
That same individual is also related to another investigation that's ongoing in which he's alleged to have engaged in sexual assault and several other charges with 2 female individuals, both very, very young, in their early teens.
So police have also laid sexual assault, sexual interference, and invitation to sexual touching charges against Andrew James Gregory, or AJ Gregory. Police say the allegations involve 2 girls under the age of 16 that he had sexual relationships with. 19-year-old AJ Gregory, or Andrew James, is scheduled to make his first court appearance in Lethbridge Provincial Court tomorrow. Now, police are also looking for anyone who may have more information on either of these investigations. They're looking for details on Gregory's activities while in Vulcan, but he's also been known to visit Pincher Creek in Edmonton. If you can help, you're asked to call Vulcan RCMP or Crime Stoppers. And a former Taber resident now living in Greece is facing sexual assault and sexual interference charges. Taber police began investigating the complaints in May of 2010, and they believe the alleged crimes happened between 1995 and 2001 and involved victims under the age of 16. The Federal Justice Department is working to extradite John Vutharazen back to Canada. The 50-year-old has been living in Greece. He's in custody awaiting an extradition hearing. And a Lethbridge man charged with manslaughter made a brief court appearance today. 54-year-old James Carl Bach faces a manslaughter charge in connection with a death in a Lethbridge boarding house in August. Police say Bach was woken up in his boarding house by someone banging on his door. A fight broke out and a 29-year-old man was stabbed to death. The judge released Bach on bail in September. He'll return to court on February 23rd. And the case against a former Lethbridge police officer who's charged with trafficking weapons has been adjourned until later this month. 63-year-old Daniel Bennett is facing 9 counts of trafficking weapons following a joint investigation by police in Calgary and Lethbridge. Bennett, a former firearms instructor with the Lethbridge Regional Police Service, was charged in October. He'll return to court on February 23rd. Well, after weeks of silence, the husband of a Calgary woman beaten in Mexico is speaking out today. In a statement, Sheila Knapp's husband, Andrew, wrote on behalf of the whole family, thanking Canadians from coast to coast for their concern and support. The statement goes on to say that while Sheila's injuries were serious and she has a long recovery ahead, Andrew and the family are looking forward to having her back home where she belongs. The statement confirms that she's recovering in a Calgary hospital. She had extensive reconstructive surgery this past Saturday, which doctors say was successful. She is still sedated but has been responsive and is showing improvements every day. Now, the City of Lethbridge has placed a fire ban on all open fires in the River Valley. The ban includes stoves at the John Martin Centre and the fire pit at Elks Compound. Any fire pits on private property are excluded. The ban went into effect this morning. And the city would also like residents to know that there will be no water service in the River Valley for the week of February 6th through the 11th, as crews will be tying a new water main to service West Lethbridge. And with all this warm weather, you'd think spring might be just around the corner, but not according to Balzac Billy. Balzac Billy made his prediction this morning and he saw a shadow and put on his shades. That means 6 more weeks of winter. But 2 out of Canada's 4 furry forecasters are calling for an early spring. Ontario's Wyerton Willie did not see a shadow, and neither did Nova Scotia's Shubenacadie Sam when he emerged this morning. But mixed messages from Manitoba, where Winnipeg's newest groundhog, Willow, made her debut this morning. She saw her shadow, but her Ventrant counterpart, Manitoba Merv, predicted an early spring. Okay, Dory, so this is the day we actually turn to groundhogs to tell us the forecast. How do you feel about that?
Groundhogs are right up there with crystal balls in my estimation, so I don't use either of them. But yeah, spring's going to get here when it gets here. And I mean, really, for what we've had, if we had 6 more weeks of this, I don't think there'd be anybody complaining as far as the temperatures go. And for the next stretch, it looks like that's pretty much what we're going to be seeing. We've got a nice area of high pressure that's dug into southern Alberta. It's going to keep us looking sunny and pretty mild. I'll tell you just how mild in a couple of minutes.
Thanks, Dory. Well, an independent leadership hopeful for the NDP made a brief stop in Lethbridge last night. Nathan Cullen is one of 8 candidates vying to replace the late Jack Layton. He says it's important to build on the success of the former party leader, but not to try to become him. Cullen says some of his top priorities are energy issues and the environment, but also feels a large majority of Canadians have been turned off what he calls negative politics and is hoping to bring them back into the conversation.
I think people get turned off of politics when they see us screaming at one another every day in the House of Commons, and want to see us be a little bit more respectful. We're not enemies, we're political opponents. That means we have different views about how the country should run, but it shouldn't all be personal mudslinging. And so you can see in the race that we have and the campaign that I'm running is to try to find a way to respect people's intelligence about the issues that matter to them rather than just the interests of political parties.
Cullen has served as the party's natural resources and environment critic. Well, the University of Lethbridge has partnered with the city to try and make Lethbridge a more welcoming and inclusive community. The 2nd annual Discover Diversity Conference kicked off this morning. The 2-day event aims to fight racism and discrimination by celebrating differences. Organizers say differences can be intimidating, but people of all backgrounds will find that they have more in common than they think. They say even a simple welcoming gesture can help create a cohesive and more productive community.
Lethbridge is a designated city from Immigration Canada to receive refugees and people who are immigrating to Canada. So we have, in the last 10 years, the makeup of our community has changed dramatically.
Keynote speaker Adam Slegman from the University of Boston will speak tomorrow afternoon about conflict resolution between people of different backgrounds. Local realtors are tapping into online tools to maximize their exposure. The Next Generation Symposium focused on how to use social media and video sites to increase your business. Across North America, 70% of first views for real estate are online video. Internationally, it's up to 93%. Even in smaller centers, the real estate industry has expanded to include buyers from all around the world.
So it can be Nelson, BC, it can be Lethbridge, it can be Kelowna. The international buyer is looking all over Canada because of the great, first of all, just the great country that it is, and the cost of housing and the cost of money.
Organizers say it's important to manage your online profile and to keep it professional. Alberta potato growers expect local farmers will take measures to fill last year's shortfall. Growers met at an annual conference to discuss the latest market trends. And this past year, many local potato farmers had crops while good yields in other areas came up short. Local farmers say they may increase their acreage to try to refill the pipeline. Growers also expect to battle the effects of a strong Canadian dollar again this year.
Our French fry market is export driven, so we need to find markets where we can be competitive. So we try to use advantages like quality and supply and service to give us a foothold in those markets and hold on to them.
Now, potato growers tell us that they aren't concerned about the lack of moisture this winter because reservoirs are full, but they say wind erosion is a concern. The Lethbridge Regional Police have won this year's Sirens for Life Blood Donor Challenge. The challenge, which runs for a month, encourages regional police, RCMP, and firefighters to donate blood. The department with the most donations wins bragging rights, and this year, a pair of SWAT boots. Regional police had 35 staff donations. The fire department had 27. RCMP had 7. 350 community members also donated on behalf of one of the organizations. Blood Services says they're still always looking for donations. You can make an appointment to donate by calling 1-888-2DONATE. Markets today. The loonie was down a bit, but still above parity. Here are the closing figures.